everybody. This is going to be a different style of show. We cover college football over here, and that's all we try to do over here is talk about college football. My name is Colin Bashnagel, the host here at Bash's College Football Show. And, a lot of things going on in the world, and I just want to say, as somebody trying to grow in my faith, I don't try to push politics or religion, especially when it comes to talking about football. Like, yeah, if I'm close with you, I talk to you guys about that stuff. But generally speaking, I stick to strictly football. I just want to say that I'm a person of faith, and my thoughts and prayers are for this country right now and for healing all around for everything going on. You got the anniversary of 9/11, 24 years. You have what happened with Charlie Kirk in Utah yesterday. And you have right now an ongoing situation at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. And I say this with a heavy heart because I don't talk about this much and probably won't talk about this much more. This is a college football show. My prayers are with you. And to some of you, that might not mean a whole lot. But I know some of you too would very much appreciate that. And there's no shame that I'm going to be placing on anybody for where they're at. So today we're talking about Georgia Tech and Clemson. I just wanted to get that out of the way. This is the first video I'm posting since everything, it's been a different week. I'm still trying to get into the rhythm of this, get disciplined when it comes to making videos and stuff like that. And certainly the first video after everything happened, I just wanted to mention that, and then we can go on with our normal college football life. And since I never did a top 25 video, before we do any preview, I'm just going to feature my top 25 in this one. It's going to be real quick, so here's the overlay of that. I still have Ohio State 1. I ended up putting Oregon at 2. They're very, very impressive through 2 weeks. A lot more impressive. You got to think between them and Penn State. Penn State has looked less impressive against lesser competition. As bad as the competition has been that Oregon's played, it's still better competition, in my opinion, than what Penn State has played. I think that Montana State, recent history would indicate that they're a pretty solid FCS, and Oklahoma State's still a Power 4 team, whether we want to clown on them or not. I still have respect for Penn State, but they got to show me, and specifically, they got to show me more on offense. If LSU at 4, I dropped them too. They did not look impressive against Louisiana Tech. I don't want to weigh that too much, but given the fact that their signature win, Clemson, we'll get to in a minute, did not look impressive, I dropped them. Miami stays at 5. Georgia, I need to see more from them. They have not looked very impressive. They have an opportunity. The only reason why they're up at 6 is because I trust the system with Kirby Smart, but Gunnar Stockton's not doing it for me right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a quarterback change this year. Texas at 7. Notre Dame at 8. I think that's pretty cookie cutter right there. I'm surprised Oklahoma didn't take a bigger jump. They're at 13 in the AP poll. I got them at 9. I mean, that was an impressive win. They were pretty dominant against Michigan, more than the score indicated. Utah, by the way, everybody's sleeping on them. I think this is easily a favorite to make the college football playoff right now. They look dominant and great early on this season. Illinois at 11, I'm kind of bought in, kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out with them. Iowa State, they have a good resume. They should be ranked a little bit higher than 14. Texas A&M, it's prove-it week for them. They go on the road to Notre Dame. Florida State, I just didn't want to put them up super high because I'm still not sure how impressive this team is going to be. But I did put them right above Clemson because they have a signature win and Clemson does not. And, of course, Clemson has that loss. They did also look terrible against Troy. You got Texas Tech at 16, Ole Miss at 17, Missouri at 18. I am pretty high on Missouri. I was very impressed by Bo Pribula against Kansas. That game looked iffy at times, and they were able to rally and win in a pretty impressive fashion, dominating that fourth quarter and pulling away at the end of the game against Kansas. Georgia Tech, I love, and they're going to get tested at home against Clemson this week, which we're talking about here. Alabama at 20, Michigan at 21, South Carolina at 22. USC, how about USC jumping in at 23? This team is going under the radar a little bit too much. USF at 24. I'm not overreacting. I've never been bought into Florida. I didn't rank Florida at any point. But with that being said, I still think that Boise State and Florida are at the very least 2 top 50 teams. They were able to beat Florida on the road in the Swamp, a tough place to play, and they beat Boise State, a playoff team from a year ago. And then I also have respect for what I've seen from Tennessee. Now, a lot of people would call that disrespect, having them at 25. The issue is again, just like Florida, I wasn't very high on them, but Tennessee's starting to prove me wrong, and they can take a step in the right direction against Georgia this week. Now, we're going to get straight into this preview and not ramble on much longer. We got Georgia Tech and Clemson. Boy, oh boy, this game is a whole lot of fun. When I made these slides yesterday, it was a 2.5 point spread, 51.5 over under. Clemson is going to be the slight road favorite, but this spread was much bigger before what happened against Troy. Listen, I got major concerns with Clemson on offense right now. And I think this passing offense will be all right. I think it will be productive within the ACC, but the problem is they couldn't run the ball against Troy. Now, not running the ball against LSU is a concern, but it's not like well, they're screwed. No, they couldn't run the ball against Troy. And I've always said that they have a problem because a lot of people just assume if you have an experienced offensive line, you got a good offensive line. Not sure if that's the case with Clemson. And the other thing is, their starting running back right now is Adam Randall. He's a converted wide receiver. You know, this isn't a guy that's really, really dynamic in the run game, and they don't have that guy. There's a lot of hype around Gideon Davidson, the true freshman running back. I'm not sure if he's got it. Now, they have plenty of talent out wide. So when you're talking about the matchup here that you're talking about, how does this Georgia Tech secondary really match up? Well, I think this Georgia Tech secondary is really in a better spot than it was a year ago, and they did beat an offense that was reliant on the pass game a year ago in Miami. And when you have a leader like Clayton Powlee in the backfield, he's a really, really good, nasty player at safety, and then also a middle linebacker, a green dot, and Kyle Eford, who has been there, who knows college football. One of those experienced guys that just knows football. He's a grinder. Those are guys you can really lean on to make sure that Georgia Tech is going to consistently, on defense, be in the right position to defend Clemson as best as they can when it comes to that dynamic pass game. So I think they're going to be able to limit it as much as possible. Now, the big question I'm going to have in this game is, will Georgia Tech be able to be effective with the style of offense that they have? And I think they can. And here's the reason why I think they could at least be effective enough to win this game. You are talking about a Clemson defense that is very strong in the front seven. And to be quite frank with you, that secondary did look somewhat impressive against LSU, but it still wasn't like a major strength that I can hang my hat on over here for that secondary. It's definitely a little bit better than I expected it to be, but it's still not at a level to where you could say that this team is a top 10 defense, and they might need a top 10 defense to win the ACC this year, especially with how the ACC is looking much deeper than people gave it credit for, including myself in the preseason. And Georgia Tech is a part of that. Georgia Tech, the way that they utilize perimeter run, is going to put a lot of stress onto those linebackers, and I question their linebacker depth, and I question their defensive line depth. I have no doubt in my mind that you're going to see highlight plays from TJ Parker, Peter Woods. You're going to see Sammy Brown at linebacker get very involved in the run game. But they're going to wear down. Because when you're playing Georgia Tech, you are defending power, gap, scheme, run with Haynes, the running back there. Then you got, and this is the big question, right? How healthy is Haynes King? But you got the threat of a quarterback run game with Haynes King. How healthy is he going to be? I'm not sure. That's going to be a little bit of a concern for me, but I think he's all right. And certainly what I do know about Haynes King is he's going to give it his all. And 80% healthy, he's still going to be a pain in the butt to deal with, at the very least from a run game perspective. But they also have the ability to run the ball on the perimeter. And I think that should be the game plan here for Buster Faulkner on that offensive side, is to tire out those big boys, tire out that defensive line, use the perimeter run game with guys like Malik Rutherford and being creative with Jamal Haynes. Do that in stressing out the defensive ends with the threat of the quarterback run, and challenge the depth and duration throughout the game of this Clemson defense. because I don't think they're going to be able to stand all the blows that Georgia Tech can give, all the long sustained possessions that Georgia Tech can create. And that's why I lean Georgia Tech, is because I feel like this is a matchup that is a nightmare for head coach Dabo Swinney here. I got Georgia Tech winning this game in upset fashion by a score of 24-17. I think Clemson takes an early lead. It's probably a low-scoring game, but eventually I think that Georgia Tech offense will wear down that Clemson defense, and I think Georgia Tech's defense will be good enough to hold Clemson in check. Georgia Tech pulls off the upset at home, 24-17. Well, that does it for me here on this video. Like I said, a little bit of a somber start, but we're back into the swing of things here. So make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe for more college football content. I promise you I'm not going to be sneaking in religion or politics into any of my videos. That was just a kind of exception thing that I decided to make. The rest of these preview videos that you're going to see sputtering until Saturday morning, early Saturday morning, you're going to see nothing but college football from here on out. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in that next video.